Hey guys, what's popping? Welcome to the 10th episode of the weekly market outlook with TRADEXPROP. In this episode, I will be covering dollar index, gold, and the S&P 500. If you have any other questions you would like me to address or any other asset classes you would like me to cover, just drop them down in the description, or even better, you can join our Discord and ping me there, or you can even talk to our other members who are also traders. Okay, so in this episode, I'll be doing things a bit different because actually, if you realize in my previous episodes, I was using ICT concepts and I understood that, not everyone trades ICT concepts. So I was trying to figure out if there was a way I could try to change up the analysis part to kind of cover things in a more simplistic manner, like a more simple manner, so people could take away from it even if they don't trade ICT concepts. So I figured I'd just give that a try in this episode, where I will be kind of bringing you through the markets with a view on support and resistance. So I'll be strictly focusing on S&R, and hopefully that can help you pair this entire outlook with whatever concepts that you use, because ICT concepts, they could be niche if you don't use them, but S&R is something that is simple enough, yet it can be very, very powerful, right? So in this episode, I'll be using that, and you might see me throw some ICT terms around, but just know that it will still mainly be on S&R. So funnily enough, I actually recorded this previously, but I realized I wasn't using the correct audio output, so I'm doing this for the second time today. So if you do see some annotations, just know that that was from the previous recording. All right, so here we have DXY on the monthly chart. It doesn't matter if you trade ICT concepts or any other concepts. I do think you should always use multi-time frame analysis, because that's what's going to give you a high probability confirmations when all of them line up together, right? So here we have the monthly. Let's look at the two levels that are nearest to us, right? So this is a monthly resistance. This bullish and bearish move. This is our resistance right here. This line, right? So there is a slight gap. So technically it would be like this, but I just used a line to denote it so you can see clearer. That's how I frame my traditional S&R, using moves like this. And here we have a different type of S&R, which is called an open close. We have a bullish candle close and a bullish candle open. So this is what forms that support. And essentially, it would normally look like this. If I just zoom in here, it would normally look like this, but because on DXY sometimes there will be a gap, so sometimes I do use my levels to pinpoint them. But essentially, this is just the two levels that we are playing with. Let me check if my audio output is the correct one real quick. I am very okay, it's the correct one. All right, so these are the two levels that we are playing with, and essentially we saw price bounce off this monthly support last month right here, and now we are also retesting that support. So on the weekly, there are some levels down below here that we are currently coming off of, but at the moment the monthly is pretty much still bullish, but there's no reason for you to expect a bearish move as of now. Maybe until at least we reach this monthly resistance, then we can start to see a bearish monthly storyline start, but as of now we are still bullish, right? Because we have a monthly reject monthly right here, where we saw this big monthly candle reject this monthly support, right? We failed to close beneath it, which is what means when I say a monthly reject monthly right here, right? So dropping down on the weekly, and I say it's a monthly bullish storyline because we had a monthly reject monthly of this support right here, and we also saw a weekly bullish breakout. So a storyline for the monthly starts with a monthly support, price comes down, we reject it and we close. This is what causes a first step of a monthly bullish storyline. The second step is on the weekly time frame. We see price, we see price come down, and then we break a traditional resistance, which is something like this. So a bullish and bearish move. This is what is a traditional resistance. So we see price break and close above here, which kind of confirms the monthly bullish storyline. So as of now, I'm expecting pullbacks into supports to continue to push price higher into this monthly resistance, but before that we could find obstacles to kind of push us lower before coming into this monthly resistance, which is these two levels right here. So I'll go through them once, like after we cover this segment of price action here. But essentially we had this resistance, price closed above it, so now we could come down to retest them to continue higher, right? So this is the first level of support that I'm expecting, and the second one is beneath it, which is actually a, well, what I would call, what this form of SNR calls a left shoulder, which is this area is a previous, let me just mark it out, this is a previous level of support, right? Because we see a V-shaped move, so price breaks this, this is supposed to become a resistance, which it did right here. So support breaks, becomes resistance, suddenly we see price break it again, which changes this level's characteristics. So this now becomes a left shoulder, which also may now act as a level of support, right? And I also use a zone to mark it out because technically this is also a weekly support. So technically the level looks like this. These two supports, I just used a zone to mark them out right here. So first level of support that I'm expecting is this resistance breaks from support. Second is this left shoulder, and third is this final weekly open close support right here. So this entire price action is where I'm expecting price to bounce off of right here. And hold on, and we may bounce off to reach these two levels right here. First we have this one, which is open close bullish support. Price found support here, ultimately broken through right here. So just a classic resistance turn support. So SBR support breaks becomes resistance right here, and also this level right here, which is a weekly resistance, and also this weekly open close right here. So this is a support, you inverse that, this becomes a resistance. All right, so yeah, all right, so technically right now actually this is the only level. I marked this out wrongly previously. This is actually not fresh anymore. By fresh I mean we formed, just not use a replay, but we formed it around here and then we retested it around here. So this level is now unfresh. So this is what is the leftover of the resistances in this area. This is the current fresh level, right? So once we wick or interact with a level, we call it unfresh, and we wouldn't want to be trading off of it anymore unless the characteristics change. Okay, so we have the rough idea on the weekly. Drop it down to the daily, right? We know we want a long off of weekly supports, but are we able to refine it into something even better, like on a daily, right? So here we have a weekly support. It kind of coincides with a daily resistance breaks from support, and beneath it we also have a nearby level of a level right here. So this is a right here, so this is a resistance, breaks becomes support. Beneath that we have this level right here, so that could come into it. I chose not to draw them out because it can get very cluttered, but just in and around this level we have a few daily supports that we could be looking at for the refinements, right? And the reason I don't want to draw any of the other quote-unquote resistances or supports around these areas, because there is a ton, there are tons of levels that may be fresh here, but essentially this is current price action, and I always want to kind of deal with the newest price action available to us. So you could definitely draw down, like here we have also we have a resistance breaks, turn resistance breaks, turns into left shoulder, right? This is unfresh, so I wouldn't draw that out. Here we have resistance breaks and support, unfresh as well. Unfresh meaning we interacted with it already around here, so it's not fresh anymore. We are coming off of this daily resistance, see how we respect it and we don't close above it, which is why it's edging me towards a retracement to lower. So these areas right here is what I'm expecting it to do, to push us higher, right? So essentially we could come back down, reject it on the H4, maybe we can see a H4 breakout, which can in turn cause us to see price travel higher from there, right? So there's nothing here on the daily. Here is nothing here is that's fresh. It's just really cluttered price action. As you can see, we had this really tight range right here, which is just really consolidated. So nothing here is fresh. So I just chose to draw them out on the weekly around here. So expecting a open, low, high, close week, right? And dropping here we have the econ calendar. This is in Malaysian time, so just 12 GMT plus 8, which is 12 hours ahead of New York local time. We have news on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday is a bank holiday, and we have high impact news around Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, right? Although this is high impact, I personally don't classify this as an extremely high impact news. It definitely will bring more movement. Oh, what's up? Oh, sorry. We definitely could see momentum coming in, since it is a high impact news at 8:30 p.m. But for me, high impact news really is like, you know, NFP, CPI, FOMC, right? The big three essentially are high impact news releases for me. All of these are still high impact, so do, you know, keep them in your mind. We could definitely see some. Oh, failed to fetch. That's interesting. But yeah, essentially understand that we could see momentum come in Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday likely to range for the US dollar, and Thursday, Friday we could see more momentum coming in. So the week could look like Monday, Tuesday range, or we could see that manipulation during Tuesday. Wednesday we could see this again. Thursday final displacement, and Friday maybe pullback. Something like that could be on the cards, seeing price action for this week, right? So that is the dollar index. Let's move on to gold. All right, so gold just shooting up, right? Focusing on the nearest monthly level. We don't have any monthly resistance, and because this is all-time highs, there's also nothing on the left. So the nearest one that we have is this monthly support right here, this monthly open close support, and we have not tapped into it across most broker data feeds. So Oanda, we haven't touched it. FXCM, none as well. So I'm assuming we haven't really touched this to go higher, and we have just kind of left this open right here. So nothing much. Going down to the weekly, at the moment our storyline is pretty much still bullish. If you treat this as a tap, the breakout for the weekly to confirm the monthly storyline would be here, right? Because we need a breakout of a traditional resistance for it to be deemed as a breakout, and that's all the way here. So not really fancy of that. We could still play with current price action. So at the moment we have a few levels we could see this movement from. We have, first off, we have this nearby open close resistance, which is giving you a potential a rejection to go lower, right? So we came off of this level right here, which is actually unfresh, right? This is an unfresh level because this is that resistance. We tapped it right here to go lower in this week, and we've tapped it here again. So I'm expecting this to be broken next week for us to continue going lower than higher. But the nearby resistance actually is this open close, which has this gap, right? Because we closed here, we opened here, this gap forms the open close resistance. We came off above it, right? And I want to see price come back down, give us a pullback to go higher. This is my 2 weekly levels that we are seeing, and we also have this left shoulder, right? Why is it a left shoulder? Support breaks, supposed to become resistance. Instead, it fails, and it's now a left shoulder for price to go higher, right? So at the moment, I don't really have a storyline on the monthly and the weekly as well, but it is pretty clear cut that we are bullish. It's just that as of now, we are kind of within this large range right here. So there is no clear storyline until we see a failure of something down maybe here, right? So I want to see more bullish price action to carry us into perhaps this level right here, because this is not fresh, this is not fresh, none of these levels are fresh, right? This is the only fresh one until we form some new price action. So still bullish on gold, right? So here we have a few daily levels. This is that monthly. We never really tapped it, but we have come very close to it. So you could even assume that it's been tapped, because on some broker feeds, I'm sure it has been tapped, but on the major ones like OANDA, FXCM, Forex.com, we have not touched it just yet, right? So here we have a really important level. We have the weekly right here, right? And these are all daily levels. So currently we're coming off of this weekly resistance. To have a breakout for the daily to go bearish, it will have to be here. So we could still play within this range. If we form a daily resistance here, we could take shorts into this level to see potential longs from it. Ideally, I will want it to form support around here to go higher, but as of now, it's still pretty unconfirmed. We have resistances around this area, so this is a resistance, 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 right? So this entire cluster of areas is something you could be looking to go at. But currently we are respecting this weekly resistance right here, so we could see a short-term retracement to go long into maybe this area right here. But if we keep on failing, then I'll be looking at this weekly left shoulder, right? So going down the weekly, we could come down here to push higher, right? So it's all kind of depending on how we react around this level. If we start trending lower, we could see something like that. But if we respect this level, we could see keep going higher into the nearest level of the daily resistance around this area, and finally the weekly resistance around this area right here. So that is what I'm looking at for gold at the moment. Let's move on to the S&P 500. So here we have a monthly support, which is a monthly resistance. Breaks become support. Right here it's a resistance because this is a V shape, body closure above, and now we're testing it as support to go higher. So we have the first criteria. Oh, what's that? I know. How do you go away, bro? Oh, okay, you're gone. So monthly, reject monthly right there. Nothing much you can see. There's no price action here, and we are also at all-time highs. No price action on the left. So monthly, reject monthly. Do we have a weekly breakout? Which we do have right here. So this is that monthly, price came down. This is a traditional resistance, and we see price break it aggressively over here with this body closure. So V-shape resistance right here, price broke it. So now this may act as support for us to go higher. The nearest level is this one. However, the thing is, I don't like to play open closes in the middle of nowhere like this. I prefer to play traditional SNR like these, because this doesn't consider with anything on the left. But definitely because it is a weekly level, you could see reactions from here, and also because it is in line with the monthly bullish storyline. So open close support, this is an RBS, this is a traditional support. So these three areas are areas you could see price bounce off at. Trying to go down on the daily, right? We also have a a weekly bullish storyline, because we came down into a weekly support right here, and then we saw a bullish breakout right here. So price broke out right here, so everything is bullish. There's no cause for you to be bearish on the market as of now. So where we are currently, we may be rejecting this level to go lower. This is a daily RBS, resistance, breakpoint support. It's low probability, but I wouldn't play it because it's already been tested. I would not also recommend you to play any of these daily levels right here, because they are kind of in the middle of nowhere. So I would say try to play the weeklies at least, right, or something lower here within this weekly. So all of these refinements of these daily open closes, this RBS is also a refinement of the weekly. We have a daily right here just beneath that weekly support, so this could be a refinement of this one. And yeah, just going to see how price reacts once we come down to them. Now note that in this move down, you could catch a move for sure. Wait for a daily resistance to form, and then you can take a so wait for a resistance to form, and then wait for price to break down, come back up on that retracement, take those shorts down into the weekly or even some daily levels right here if you want to be a lot more safer, because we could just bounce off of the daily, of course, but I would wait for the weekly to kind of see longer term longs, I'd say. So yeah, that's pretty much the outlook for this week. I know it could be a bit weird because it is different from ICT concepts, but I figured this is a bit of an easier breakdown. If you want to know more about this type of SNR, which is called Malaysian SNR, you could definitely leave a comment down below. It's quite simple to use. You could look at it once a day and you could have a clear direction on where price is likely to go. It is pretty much the cleanest form of SNR I've seen throughout the years, because the way to draw them, I mean, assuming you don't have gaps, of course, is really easy. It's just an V shape, A shape, or an open close, right? So it's really objective in terms of how you draw them if the chart is really clean. But with gaps like these on the S&P, it takes a bit of experience to know what to draw. But essentially it's still the same thing, it's just a bit messier than usual, but it's just cleaner, right? The one thing I think is really good on Malaysian SNR is that it helps you build a really good narrative, which they call storyline. But essentially it's just your narrative for price to be bullish or bearish, and it gives you a high probability environment to play from when you have all the confirmations lined up, which is pretty much, I guess, the strong point of ICT, is that they use so many different PD arrays, concepts, time, and all those things to give you a high probability environment to take trades in. And SNR in this format also gives you that. So monthly bullish, weekly bullish, daily bullish, buys at daily levels and above are very high probability, right? If you want to trade when it's unclear, you can still do so, right? You can definitely still do so, but it could be less probable. You could definitely take shorts, right, into the weekly levels right here, but there's no saying that price would come all the way down here to reject. Price could reject off of here, and all those things. So it can be low probability depending on how you do it, and it can also be high probability if you want to do it as well. It's just that your frequency may be lowered, but if all you want is a high win rate, then it's definitely something you can look into. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the outlook for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll try to clean up the explanations a bit in the next outlook. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.